Hey everybody, welcome to this reading for the week beginning, what will it be tomorrow, Saturday, the 29th of December. So this is going to take us through into the new year. Are we starting to feel the squeeze of the Capricornian energy? How is the solar eclipse for you? Pivotal, I imagine. There was certainly a strong sense of something shifting in a way that felt like a tide. And my interpretation of this was that the energies are deeply aligned with ridding ourselves of our insecurities. I mean, you'd think with all the work we do that we'd have no more insecurities, but apparently that's never going to be the case. There's always something for us to work through. And this is a major clearing on that level. And I decided to do something a little bit different this week with the reading because we are so intensely affected right now by this solar eclipse energy. It may have happened 2 days ago, but it is very strong and it sets our intentions for not only the month ahead, but 6 months ahead. I decided to pull a card from the Rider-Waite deck just to give us specifically what our challenges are right now. And you couldn't make this shit up because the card that came out is the Five of Cups. Now, again, I just have to forewarn you as I do this. I have all kinds of cuts and burns all over my hand because I was extremely clumsy over the course of the last week. So if you catch a glimpse of some grotesque looking wounds on my hand, you'll know what they are. In fact, I'll just show them to you now so that we get it over and done with. There. See, it's not so gross, but ugh, look at that. Disgusting. Anyway, so let's take a long, hard look at this card, the Five of Cups, and let it resonate with you. Like, what do you feel when you look at this person? We've talked about it so many times before, but it's always interesting to put it into a new context, because here we have 3 spilled cups and 2 that still remain standing, but they are behind the person who is mourning, and the person mourning has their head turned away from the spillage and towards the stream of the subconscious mind. And the interesting thing is that in this card there's also a bridge that leads to our desires. And if you look, the cups are in the direction, the upstanding cups are in the direction of the bridge. So if this person would just turn around and stop focusing on these negative losses and insecurities, they would find their way to the bridge. So, that's our challenge right now, which makes sense. Because we are being forced to confront any remaining attitudes that we have towards ourselves that are getting in our way. And God knows there are plenty of those that seem to have come up for me. So, if you're going through the same thing, what do we have on our side this week? We have our Spirit Animal Oracle card in the form of Beaver Spirit. And Beaver Spirit's message is lay a solid foundation. And as always, I will read the Oracle message and the protection message. First, the Oracle message. Beaver Spirit is number 6. Beaver Spirit is here to tell you about a power living within you that is born of spirit, the source from which all life arises. This is the power to establish the sacred connection with the universal consciousness, so you can deliberately co-create the world you desire. Know that it takes work, determination, and sustained effort to co-create and lay a solid foundation for your dreams. If, with Spirit as your partner, you bring the twigs and branches of your intentions and desires and spread them across the river of time, you'll be amazed at what you can do. You will find that you can even change the direction of the flow of life. You can ensure that your world will be prosperous and purposeful, filled with love and joy, and rich with magic and meaning. That which you desire will come to you and remain sustainably if you build on a sturdy foundation. Keep your intention and energy consistent and deliberate, using all your resources and the energy of this wonderful productive time. Have faith, for with Spirit to co-create with you, your success is assured. Spirit is your partner, helping you along as you change the course of your life in the way your heart desires. And I would say that there is a strong focus in there on eliminating the hurdles that we put in our own way. Which leads me to the protection message. Beaver Spirit has come to warn you to check for rotten wood in the foundations of your dreams. Perhaps you built your hopes on faulty promises or wishful thinking that something would work out just because you wanted it to. Maybe you made choices from a place of unworthiness, hoping that once you got what you desired, it would somehow change you and make everything better. Or you had to face the truth that it didn't. Or Beaver Spirit may be telling you it is time to accept things as they are and perhaps consider abandoning the project, relationship, or situation or attitude so you can make room for something better. Perhaps you need to go back and rebuild a solid foundation because what you desire may not be in alignment with what your soul intends. Beaver Spirit says you can always get busy and build something fresh and new if the desire is true. All manner of miracles can spring up from a new, strong foundation when you remember your partnership with Spirit. Be clear about what you're building and why. Choose from a place of worthiness, well-being, and wholeness. Self-understanding and acceptance will provide you with a solid blueprint to begin again. Let me repeat that. Self-understanding and acceptance will provide you with a solid blueprint to begin again. Get busy now. Beaver Spirit says this is not a time to procrastinate, but a time to start building again, always mindful of the foundation you are laying, trusting that Spirit is co-creating with you. Thank you, Beaver Spirit, because that works perfectly for us, doesn't it? Anyway, let's get into this reading. There were a lot of cards this week. They were just flying out all over the place, so I took them all. And what we got for our underlying energy is the combination of the 7 of Cups and the 7 of Wands. So, 7 of Pentacles. Forgive me. Apparently I can't read. 2 7s. What are the 7s? The 7s are a time of reflection upon what does or does not serve us. It is a time to let go or walk away from the things that do not, and evaluate the things that we have in our life that are in our favor. You shouldn't focus on the negative, but we do have to also take that into consideration. So, with the Pentacles, it's specifically in terms of looking at our accomplishments, looking at our opportunities, looking at the ideas that we have of opportunities, and establishing what is and what isn't truly an opportunity for us. And same goes for accomplishments. What is an accomplishment that has been edifying to who we are and who we want to be, and what accomplishments, need to be sort of not cast aside or abandoned, but sort of filed away as past accomplishments that no longer need to be a part of our current foundations, or at least not consciously so. Sometimes things that we believe have been our accomplishments, we can not just rest on our laurels, but sort of become content to wear them as feathers in a hat that is outdated. For clarification on that, we got the Queen of Swords, and the Queen of Swords is there to tell us how we get to that place of clarity, and that is by fully embracing our inner power that comes from our own truth. It is stepping away from the false narratives that we have told ourselves and taking ownership of our value and disregarding the opinions of others that do not serve us with love and respect and honor. And that's all I have to say about that. And anybody who is treating you like that, you know what they can do. And I do think that this is an interesting time because I am seeing things, people, and values that I have falsely held on to as being fundamental to my life. I won't go into personal details, but just a sort of a feeling of that certain things just are not, they're just not relevant, and they bring you down, they bring me down, or they, it's like I don't want people in my life that don't resonate at a higher frequency. Sorry. But not sorry, And I think that's what a lot of this energy is about, because it is a struggle enough to keep ourselves in a healthy place. And when other people are not doing the work on themselves, they drag us down, right? I mean, not always, because some people are, they acknowledge their journey and they acknowledge that they have work to do. But in knowing that, they also don't come at you with the desire to dump their crap all over you, or be withholding as punishment, or, the list could go on. The list could go on. But these are things that I've gotten to the point in my life where, honestly, if you want to be like that, that's your problem, and you will learn your way forward. But, because we all do, but not my time. Adios, muchacha. Or muchacho. Or whatever you want to call these people. Dickheads. Cunts. Okay, let's get into our underlying past energies, because there are lots of cards, and I don't want this to run too long, because I'm really hungry. We got first card, Queen of Wands, clarified by, and I did take reversals because there were lots of them, clarified by the Ace of Cups and the Queen of Wands reversed and the Ten of Wands reversed. I will again show you that beautiful Queen of Wands there. I will not show you the Hermetic tarot deck because you don't need to see them. But this is what I'm getting. Okay, so the Queen of Wands clarified by the Queen of Wands reversed pretty much tells me that it's we have Queen of Wands is self-confidence, it is inspiration, it is a woman who is or a feminine energy that is fertile and flirtatious and full of power. And the fact that we got that card clarified by her reversal means that that's probably what's been lacking in us on some level. And how has that been lacking? Well, we have the Ten of Wands, which is the Lord of Oppression card, which is in turn the card of feeling burdened, coming to the end of a long journey, but feeling very burdened by the process. And the Ace of Cups upright, in turn, tells me that the combination of feeling like the Queen of Wands reversed and then coming into the Ten of Wands reversed, meaning that we are getting to this flip of that burdensome energy. We come into the Ace of Cups, which is an emotional awakening, a joyful, positive outlook that is, for the time being, because it is in our past, intangible. It is an inner process that we'll see if it manifests. It doesn't in this reading, to be perfectly honest with you, so that's why I say it's intangible. We move directly into the Four of Swords reversed. I'll put it upright for you so that you can have a look at it. But it was reversed. And the Four of Swords is clarified by the Two of Swords upright. And, okay, so the Four of Swords is a card of rest. It is a card of hanging up our swords so that we can focus on the three swords that caused our pain and suffering. Because the Three of Swords is the card in the Rider-Waite that is depicted by the bloody heart with the swords going through. And so we have come into a desire to realign ourselves, and the reversal with the Two of Swords as a clarifier tells me that we weren't perhaps entirely successful with that process, and we may have become run down in the recent past in this process of emotional reflectiveness. I mean, if you see the reversal of the Queen of Wands energy, and then but through coming to the end of that difficult time of not being in self-confidence and feeling oppressed and burdened, but then going through that process finally to come to a place of having a sense of awakening emotionally into something more positive, and then finding perhaps that all of that hard work has run you down a little bit, and probably, maybe, in my interpretation of the energies, caused you to also sort of be like, what the fuck, oh my god, like, I actually am still full of, like, all this work that I've done, I'm still full of all these insecurities, I'm still triggered left, right, and center by unkind actions, unconscious unkind actions of others, or unkind actions towards myself. Harsh judgments, inability to accept myself, And the clarification of the Two of Swords is because it's the feeling of needing to make choices from a disempowered place. We're missing something in our foundation in order to make the right choices in our retreat, in our surveillance of our land of life, so to speak. We then got these two cards came out reversed too in our underlying energy. So I'd say that it's been, this is for me like all the eclipse energy, because eclipse really brings to the irony. I mean, I'm aware of what I'm saying, so forgive me for the phrase, but it brings to light the things that don't work for us, and it gives us, as it's also a new, it's a new moon energy, it gives us the seeds of how we will grow now that we've shed those hindrances. So we got the Hierophant and the Ten of Pentacles reversed. Here they are upright. And it was clarified by the Ten of Swords. So here we have another 10 in our past energy, past underlying energy, which tells me that the good news is we have come to, this is the completion of the cycle that we've been talking about, that karmic cycle ending. And it wasn't easy. It's been hard. We have all graduated into a new version of reality in our lives, whatever that means for you. It can be an acceptance of your age, it can be acceptance of your place in any kind of hierarchy, or your desire not to be a part of that said hierarchy. It can be coming into a sense of a different dimensionality, that perhaps, you're starting to understand that, like, not everybody's living in exactly the same world. And do with that what you'd like. But if you're on that journey and you are confused by the world that we live in and the, revolting negativity that we are constantly bombarded with, and you're looking to elevate yourself out of that, that can be a very thick soup to be climbing out of, It's like being in quicksand, like or you can feel like it's like you're in quicksand when you get to those tens, it's the very end. But the strange thing that we need to focus on here is that we got the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. So again, that is, the Ten of Pentacles is the legacy card. It is when we've come into such a sense of abundance within ourselves that we do not, that we can be generous and giving of ourselves. The Hierophant is the card of conformity, and of tradition, and of structure, and this is also reversed. And it's clarified by the Ten of Swords, the Ten of Swords being Well, that is really like, when our soul has just been ravaged. And it doesn't mean that we don't still have life in us. We do. We're ready for a rebirth. Excuse me, I have something in my throat, but but we got to that place where we were ravaged, and we felt like we didn't have any legacy any longer, or we were confused about what our legacy was. What's the point of life, basically? What's the purpose? What is the purpose of your existence? And we've been challenged to reach a place of gaining some deeper consciousness and understanding of what that could be, and what it can be beyond what it has been. And perhaps the Hierophant in reverse is telling us too that these answers came to us through nonconformism and from having to step outside of the status quo of the established order of thinking, of values, in order to come into finally being at the very, very beginning of the possibility of having a sense of legacy. So let's move into the present, because it does get better. We got, coming into it, judgment, rebirth, renewal, this is the angel Gabriel appearing to bring us back to life, to bring joy and peace and triumph upon earth. That is a Christian view, but the good Christian stuff is worth holding on to. The rest of it, well, I won't get into that, but all spiritual beliefs have the same fundamental truth within, right? So, anyway, how that has come about, that rebirth, is through two very interesting clarifiers. Three of Swords that we were talking about when we were talking about that Four of Swords. So, we are reborn out of our pain, and it is by discarding that pain. And we've had this come up before, this association. So, when things reappear in a general reading like this, it is to remind us of the journey that we have been on, because sometimes we get so caught up in newness, or we're so caught up in the desire for something new to manifest that we get bored or tired of revisiting where we've come from. And while it is true that it is not good to stay anchored in the past, we also cannot be free without understanding where we have come from. So we still have to occasionally dip our toes back in that pond. The other card that clarified it was the Hermit, which clarifies that in this present moment, in letting go of all of this hurt and pain within for our rebirth, we are doing so via an internal process. The Hermit is the card of going inwards and seeking our truth by really going, it's like deep cleaning like all of your arteries. If you imagine that you have spiritual arteries, well, you don't really need to imagine you do, but nobody knows how to map those, and we can't see them, so therefore Just think more along the lines of your veins and arteries, and it's like basically doing a deep cleaning of all of those things. These swords, to me, are our insecurities. They are the stories that we've told ourselves as a result of how we have experienced what other people have done to us. And we all know that there are a lot of assholes in the world. So, and they do really awful things, but they do not deserve to hold on to that power over you. You know? And that's what you've come to understand. I mean, we can all be assholes, but some people are just monumental assholes all the time. And some people are just really selfish and self-absorbed, and therefore they don't have the ability to step up and to step into a higher frequency. They don't want to help themselves, and so what do? Instead, they hurt other people. That is what narcissists are, essentially. Anyway. We then got the Ace of Pentacles. That is the Ace of Pentacles, right? Yes, the Ace of Pentacles. It's a very beautiful card, isn't it? And this Ace of Pentacles came it was not upright. It was reversed. But I got the clarifier of the Three of Pentacles, which is the communion card. It is the card of the balance of the mind, body, and soul. And it is being in alignment with our community. It is feeling connected. And when that came out as the clarifier, I understood that the Ace of Pentacles reversed is not meant to be viewed as reversed. It is basically telling us that we have to make sure that coming out of this Three of Swords pain energy that we are letting go of after doing our inner journey and being reborn, we have to focus on being connected, staying connected, in order to get this pentacle, which is the giant opportunity awaiting you in your life that comes as a result of this rebirth. But if you get stuck in that Three of Swords, because let's face it, grief is a difficult process, and sometimes we think that we're over something and then it can remanifest itself. Well, this is saying you don't have to go down that path. Focus on staying in communion, staying connected in order to, and seeking new connections too, in order to benefit from that giant pentacle that is there for us in this present moment. We move on from there to the Knave of Swords, which is the Page of Swords, and you know, the Page of Swords represents new ideas. It is new inspiration, and it is being at the very beginning of a new project, and it came clarified by two cards, the Princess of Cups, which is the Page of Cups, and the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords is the truth-slaying card. It is when we come into our own truth and we take ownership of it, and it is brand new ideas, brand new inspiration, brand new intellectual leaps and bounds, coming into a deeper understanding of something that we have not, that can be monumental to our progress. So this is brand new. So we move from this spiritual rebirth by letting go of all that pain and all the insecurities and all of the self-loathing and the crap that we hold on to, into accepting opportunities that in turn inspire us to grow intellectually and possibly plant the seeds of some kind of brand new creative project. Something, not everyone is focused on artistry or, tangible manifestation of creativity, but it can simply be in the the way that you approach your life with some type of breakthrough that comes from your mind's ability to understand something better, you know? It could be the way that you, like, fold your clothes. Could be that you invent a way to fly to Mercury. I don't know. Anyway, the Page of Cups, Princess of Cups, is also there to remind us that with this type of intellect, we have to make sure that we don't forget that heart and mind connected is where the true fusion of alchemy can be found. I believe, I don't know who the quote was from, but it was at the end of Madonna's Express Yourself video. There was a quote that said, without the, what was it? Without the heart, there can be no understanding between the body and the mind. That was it, yes. So it is that, if that makes sense to you. Without the heart, there can be no understanding between the body and the mind. And I feel like I'm probably humiliating myself because it's probably some quote from, like, I don't know, like Kierkegaard or something. And I'm attributing it to a Madonna video. But you know what? That's how I grew up. Madonna taught me all kinds of amazing things because she was a curious, creative, intellectual spirit. So take that, put it in your pipe, you fuckers, if you don't like her. I'm feeling very like, well, I just really feel like I'm at this point where I'm like, just go away, all of you rotten, like, negative people or entities, whatever, you know? I just don't want it anymore, and neither should you, and you don't deserve it. So, bye-bye. Goodbye, all of you ugly energies. Let's move into our future now, okay? So what lies ahead for us in the, well, this is very, I feel like it starts very immediate and then we move into something way more expansive and bigger and probably a grander scheme of time. So we start with, I mean, what the fuck? Why is the Four of Pentacles here? Because that is the miser card. It is the lack of the fear of investment, fear of losing what we have, and not being willing to take the risk of letting go of what we have in order to grow, because as we've said before, and this is a different depiction in the Botticelli, a deck which is actually probably kind of nicer than in the Rider-Waite and actually explains it better. He's holding on to a bag that has 4 pentacles in it. I mean, we're not supposed to be able to see those 4 pentacles surrounding him, but that's just, like, you know, symbology. So he's holding on tight to that. How is he going to get 10 pentacles if he thinks that 4 is the limit of what he can have? So we are probably, like, feeling, you know, as we move out of this insecurity, that can definitely trigger that, you know, in us, where we feel, you know, we've got the ideas and the inspiration and, you know, like, is it a real opportunity, you know? Isn't it better to stay with, you know, like, what I have because it takes work. That's why. I forgot, we have a clarifier. The Princess of Pentacles, which is the Page of Pentacles. So this is the lowest hierarchical manifestation of the Pentacle people. So that's not to say that that's negative. We all grow from somewhere. but it is an implication that perhaps what we are, we fall into our poverty consciousness mentality when we are faced with the idea that something requires craft and work, and that there's more to the process than just, waving a magic wand and being like, whoa, I'm here, it's like, I've done it, No, it's a new chapter, a new reality, and we have to take small steps, and eventually when you take 10 small steps, that becomes a milestone, and so on and so forth. And so we got that confirmation in the next card, which was the Ten of Wands reversed. So the Ten of Wands reversed, literally, like, now that makes us, do we have all 4 of the 10s? No, we have 3 of the 10s in this reading. The one missing, the Ten of Cups. So what does that say? That says that in the future, there's a good chance that we are going to be focused on our emotional fulfillment. But for now, our focus is on other aspects of our lives. In terms of coming to a conclusion. Maybe it's because we have to do all of that work of letting go of our grief and letting go of our poverty consciousness and letting go of our self-punitive attitudes and our negative self-talk before we can even think about growing emotionally with others in this new chapter. So we don't have that here yet. The Ten of Wands, however, reversed, this confirms to me that we are going to stop being in the energy of feeling, how would I put this, spent. That feeling of being spent, particularly as a result of the energy of other people, or because of feeling that we can't reach where we want to reach. We're letting go of that. And how are we letting go of it? Well, we got the Fool, so that's the brand new journey. So in order to let go of the end of a cycle, we have to be willing to see that it's the end of a cycle and accept the newness, which in turn, that probably confirms why this Page of Pentacles is here, because accepting that newness is also accepting that, when you're at ground zero and you've come out of an old cycle, you're very aware of what happened in the last cycle. So that's the comfort zone, and you have no idea what's ahead of you in the new cycle. And you're in this, like, brand new space with, so your beacon is in the past. So you got to stop looking there in the future and accept the new journey. And how do you do that? You do it by letting go of the Nine of Wands, which again is the weariness. We gotta let go of feeling tired or cynical. Okay, that's what it is. Let go of cynicism. How do you let go of cynicism? Well, actually, I do know that. I figured it out. You have to just focus on being joyful. Cynicism, anytime you find yourself feeling cynical towards something, laugh about it, and then also remind yourself that you know nothing, and nobody knows anything, Anybody who has a theory, anybody who thinks they know anything, can just laugh at them at the end of the day, because they don't know. Nobody does. Nobody knows what the fuck any of us are doing. So, and we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. We do know what happened yesterday. We know what we're doing right now. but we do not know what's going to happen tomorrow, and neither does anybody else. So, where was I? Oh yeah, sorry. Okay, and we got the Seven of Pentacles again, so this is also, the Nine of Wands and the Seven of Pentacles came out together. So basically what I'm taking that as being is that the Seven of Pentacles is, we had it at the beginning, it is well, not the beginning, it was the underlying energy. So we know that in our immediate future, or in the coming days, weeks, we're going to find ourselves perhaps feeling as though we need to take stock, or we're looking at our lives and we're like assessing like where we are and whatever else. And we need to not get into that energy, because that is what makes us feel this weariness. And instead, accept the newness, let go of the old, and start the Fool's Journey. And what does that lead to? Our conclusion, and I know that this is running a little longer than usual, so I'm going to go very fast with this. We got the beautiful Wheel of Fortune, and I will hold that there for longer because I love this card in this deck, and it picks up the light. The gilding is just so, it makes it look so beautiful. So I hope you're seeing that and enjoying it. And it's held up with my hand that doesn't have disgusting burns and things on it. So, how was that clarified? Wheel of Fortune, of course, brand new cycle, shift of fortune towards the positive. Out of all of this comes happiness, joy, success, balance, love. When I say love, I don't mean like it could be romantic love, but a sense of love. And most importantly, purpose. Wheel of Fortune to me always leads to purpose, which is exactly what we want when we get to past the tens and onto a new journey. And we find that sense of legacy finally, which gives us a reason to pursue purpose. And it was clarified by the Emperor and the Death card. So, when you have the Wheel of Fortune and it's clarified by the Death card, that means that the radical shift out of the old is revolutionarily, impactful. And the Emperor, in this case, I would say the Emperor is telling us that seeing as so much of what we're reading is about legacy, coming into the understanding of our worth and our journey and the purpose of our journey, the Emperor is standing in the strength of that, in the sense that the Emperor does not allow himself to be affected by other people. And of course, you can be affected in a good way by people. Like, there's always room to be inspired and loved by other people. But those dinglings who are, who have in the past caused your self-esteem to be diminished, or your worth to be questioned, or whatever else has been going on in your life, or your own inner demons of telling yourself that you're too old, you're too fat, you're too thin, you're too short, you're too whatever, stupid, whatever, that, goodbye, stop, that's gone, that's not happening anymore in the future. You come into ownership of your worth, finally. So, I think that all made sense. So that's it. And I wish you a fantastic New Year's celebration. I know that next year is going to be hard work for all of us, because that's what Capricorn tells us about our journey, but it's also full of promise, and there are lots of wonderful things on the horizon in 2020, shouldn't be afraid to work, on yourself, or on anything. If it's to build legacy and purpose And if it's to serve the greater good of humankind and spiritual growth, then the work is always rewarding. So, on that note, I wish you peace, joy, love, harmony, happiness, everything you could possibly want in 2020. And I love you.